The red sun of Veron 5 burned weakly over a dying mining city. Rusted metal towers rose like broken teeth and the air smelled of fuel and dust. Down in the narrow streets, humans begged, traded, and fought for scraps. One of them was Eli Dane, a 28-year-old mechanic with tired eyes and oil-stained hands. Eli had once dreamed of building starships. Now he fixed broken mining drones for a few credits a day, barely enough to eat. His tiny room was cold and empty. Every night he stared at the black sky through the cracked window and whispered, "Just one chance. One real chance to leave this place." That chance came one rainy evening. He was sitting outside a cheap food stall, eating cold noodles, when a holographic ad flickered in front of him. It showed a shining starship and glowing alien letters that slowly turned into human language. Intergalactic marriage program. Seeking human partners. Reward. One Class V starship and citizenship. Eli laughed weakly. Yeah, right. Another scam. But the ad didn't vanish. A new line appeared. Only one candidate will be chosen. Apply tonight. Something in his chest stirred. He had nothing left to lose. With trembling hands, he clicked apply. Inside a small government building, the air smelled of ozone and perfume. Alien lights glowed softly on the walls. Behind a glass screen sat an official wearing silver robes and a cold smile. "Eli Dane," she said. "You meet the requirements. The bride is Lady Thura of Varn, heir of the House of Clouds." Eli frowned. "Who is she?" The woman tilted her head. "A wealthy core citizen. A special species. You will live under her care for one standard year. If the marriage is completed, you receive the ship and citizenship." He hesitated. "And if I refuse?" "Then go back to your pit, human," the woman said softly. "You will never leave Veron 5. Eli looked at his cracked boots and dirty hands. He thought of the endless dust and hunger. Then he signed the contract. The next day, a silver shuttle arrived. Inside, Eli sat alone, staring out the window as the planet grew smaller behind him. His heart pounded with hope and fear. He whispered to himself, maybe this time, maybe this will change everything. After several hours, the shuttle reached the House of Clouds, a floating palace made of crystal and light. It shimmered against the darkness of space like a dream. Inside the grand hall, hundreds of alien guests watched as Eli walked forward. Their eyes glowed in strange colors. Their whispers filled the air. At the end of the hall stood his bride, Lady Thura of Varn. She was unlike anything Eli had ever seen. Her skin was pale blue and soft like silk. Her golden eyes were wide and bright, but her body was massive, 3 times the size of a human, covered in layered robes that shimmered like water. She looked powerful, ancient, and strange. When she smiled, Eli felt a chill. "You are smaller than I imagined," she said in a deep, echoing voice. "And you're beautiful." Eli lied, his throat dry. She laughed softly, a sound like thunder rolling in the distance. "You will make a good husband. You know how to survive." The ceremony was quick. Alien lights swirled around them, and their names were recorded in the Galactic Archive. When it ended, Thura took his hand, and her fingers thick, warm, and strangely soft. "Now," she said, "you are mine." That night, they stood before a massive starship docked outside the palace. It was sleek and shining, covered in living metal that seemed to breathe. Eli stared in awe. "Is this ours?" he asked. Thura smiled. "It is called Varn's gift. It will obey me, and soon it will obey you, Sam, when you are ready." She led him inside. The corridors pulsed faintly like veins under skin. The air was heavy and sweet. As they walked, Eli swore he heard a whisper from the wall, soft and alive. "Did you hear that?" he asked. Thura turned slowly. Her golden eyes glowed brighter. "The ship greets its new husband," she said. Later, in their shared chamber, Thura served him a strange glowing drink. "Drink," she said gently. "You must taste the essence of our bond." Eli hesitated, but she watched him with an unblinking smile. He drank. The taste was sweet, but his tongue went numb. His body felt heavy, like sinking in warm water. Thura's face blurred in front of him. "Rest, my love," she whispered. "Tomorrow we begin our journey." As Eli's eyes closed, he thought he saw the walls move, like something alive was breathing inside the metal. When he woke, the ship was silent. Thura stood near the door, her back turned. "I'll check the engines," Eli said weakly. She didn't answer. When he tried to open the door, it didn't move. "Thura?" he asked. She turned slowly. her smile calm and cold. You belong to me now, Eli, the ship knows it. You will not leave until I say so. Her golden eyes glowed brighter, and somewhere deep inside the ship something laughed. When Eli woke again, the room was dark except for a soft blue glow coming from the walls. His mouth felt dry and his head ached as if someone had pressed hot metal into his skull. For a moment, he didn't remember where he was. Then the memories came rushing back. Lady Thura, the strange drink, the golden eyes, the whispering ship. He stood up slowly. The air was thick and warm, carrying a faint sweet smell that made his stomach twist. He walked toward the door. When he pressed his hand on the panel, it didn't open. Open, he said quietly. Nothing happened. He pressed harder, then hit the door. The smooth silver surface stayed still, silent and cold. It felt almost alive under his palm, like skin that refused to move. Thura, he called out. Are you there? Her voice came through the walls, soft and distant. Rest, my love. You must not leave your chamber yet. The ship is learning your pattern. My pattern? Eli asked. What does that even mean? But there was no answer. Only a low hum filled the air, like something huge breathing slowly all around him. Hours passed. Eli tried every control panel, every vent, every crack in the wall. There was no escape. The windows showed only the dark endlessness of space. The stars looked cold, like eyes watching him. Finally, the door opened by itself. Thura stood outside, her large frame filling the doorway. She smiled as if nothing was wrong. You are awake, she said. Good, come eat. Eli followed her through the glowing corridors. The floor felt soft beneath his feet. Not metal, but something alive. The walls pulsed faintly, as if veins ran inside them. They reached a round table filled with steaming alien food. The smell was rich and heavy. Thura served him with her thick blue hands, bowls of glowing fruit, meat that shimmered like glass, and a drink that smelled of flowers and metal. He took a small bite. It melted on his tongue, sweet and strange. Then his heartbeat slowed, and a wave of calm passed through him. What is this food? He asked. She smiled. Varnian nectar. It connects our bodies. Soon you will feel the ship's pulse as I do. I don't want to feel the ship, he muttered. I just want my freedom. The contract said. Her hand slammed the table. The plates shook. The contract said you are my husband, and a husband obeys his wife. Eli's chest went cold. Thura leaned closer, her golden eyes burning. You came here for a ship and a better life. I gave you both. Do not be ungrateful. He forced a weak smile. I'm just tired. Thura's expression softened, almost tender. She reached out and touched his cheek. Her fingers were warm and soft but heavy, like weights pressing down. Rest again. Tomorrow we begin your training. That night Eli pretended to sleep. When Thura left, he waited until the ship grew quiet. Then he moved. He followed the glowing lines on the floor until he reached a locked door marked with alien symbols. The hum behind it was stronger, like a heartbeat. He pressed the panel. It didn't open, but a soft voice whispered from the wall. Do not go there, Eli. He froze. It wasn't Thura's voice. It was faint, human, tired. Who's there? He whispered. Another husband, the voice said. Or what's left of him. Eli's blood turned to ice. Where are you? In the walls. She feeds on us. Every man who marries her becomes part of her ship. Look in the engine room. You'll see. The voice faded away. Eli forced the door open with a metal bar he found near the hall. Inside, the room was dark and warm. The walls pulsed slowly, glowing with a faint red light. He stepped closer and stopped breathing. There, near the floor, lay bones. Human bones. A skull, a ribcage, and an arm still wearing a golden ring. The ring's inscription was half-burned, but he could still read it. To Thura, with love. Eli stumbled back, heart pounding. The walls around him began to move, closing in. Eli! Thura's voice thundered from the ceiling. Why are you there? I heard something, he shouted. I was looking for you. She appeared in the doorway, her massive figure glowing in the red light. Lies, she said softly. You are not ready. The ship senses your fear. The walls tightened around him. The metal floor rippled like water. Eli screamed as invisible tendrils wrapped around his arms and chest, holding him still. Please, he cried, let me go. Thura touched the wall and the tendrils released him. He fell to the ground, gasping. She looked down at him with sad golden eyes. The ship protects me, Eli. It knows when my husband tries to run. You must learn obedience. Then she leaned close and whispered, If you run again, The ship will keep you. Forever. She turned and left. The door sealed behind her with a sound like a heartbeat. Eli lay there in the dark, shaking, his hand clutching the dead man's ring. The ship's walls whispered softly around him, 100 voices murmuring in the dark. He finally understood. The ship wasn't just locked. It was alive, and it wanted him too. The next morning on Varn's Gift had no sunrise. There was no sky, no dawn, only the endless hum of the living ship. Eli opened his eyes to the same blue glow bleeding through the walls. His body ached from the night before. The bones he had found haunted his thoughts. The whisper of the dead man still echoed in his ears. She feeds on us. He sat on the cold floor, staring at his shaking hands. I'm trapped, he whispered to himself. Married to a monster. Then, as if the ship could hear him, the walls pulsed, slow, like a heartbeat. A faint voice murmured through the air, not monster. Lonely. Eli froze. Who said that? The voice didn't return. He stood and paced the room. He needed to understand what this ship was, and what Thura truly wanted. Later, the door slid open by itself. Thura stood there, tall and shining in her silken robes. Her smile was gentle, but her eyes were cold. Come, my husband, she said. It is time to learn. He followed her into a vast chamber filled with floating crystals and silver wires that reached into the walls like veins. At the center sat a glowing sphere pulsing like a heart. This is the core, Thura said softly. The heart of Varn's Gift. It lives, breathes, and remembers. Every soul who touches it becomes part of it. Eli's skin prickled. What do you mean, part of it? Thura smiled sadly. You humans think life ends with death. But in my world, death is only connection. When one gives themselves to the ship, they never truly leave. She placed her massive hand on the sphere. It glowed brighter and faint shapes appeared within it. Faces. Human faces, some screaming, some peaceful, floating like ghosts inside glass. Eli stepped back. You're insane. Those are people. They are my loves, Thura whispered. Each one joined with me willingly. They keep me alive. Without them, I would fade into darkness. Eli's throat went dry. You killed them. Thura looked hurt. No, I saved them. They live forever here, and soon you will too. He forced a shaky smile. I need time to understand. She touched his cheek, her fingers warm and heavy. Yes, understanding takes time. But do not run again, my love. The ship knows every corner. It always finds you. Her voice was soft, but Eli could feel the threat behind it. When she left, Eli stayed in the core room, pretending to study the walls. As soon as she was gone, he moved quickly. He noticed a small maintenance tunnel behind a panel. With effort, he pried it open and crawled inside. The tunnel was narrow and hot. The walls glowed faintly and pulsed like veins under skin. Sometimes he thought he could hear whispers in them, murmurs of pain, memories trapped in metal. Help us, one voice whispered. Free us. Eli crawled faster, his heart racing. He reached a hidden chamber deep within the ship. Inside were glass pods filled with strange liquid. Floating inside were shapes, human and alien, half dissolved, their bodies fused into wires and cables. The air was thick and wet. Eli gagged as he stepped closer. One pod still glowed faintly. Inside was a man's face, pale and stretched, eyes open. The man's lips moved weakly. Run, before she binds you. Eli stumbled back, horrified. Then the ship groaned. The walls began to close, squeezing the chamber smaller. A voice filled the air, soft but angry. You should not have seen this, Thura's voice. Eli ran. He crawled through the tunnels, his breath ragged until he reached his room again. The door sealed shut behind him. He pressed his back to it, trembling. Why are you doing this? He shouted. Why me? Thura's voice came through the ceiling, calm and echoing. Because you are strong, Eli, you have spirit. The ship grows weaker and I need a new bond. You will make us whole again. I'm not your food. He yelled. There was silence for a moment. Then she said softly, You are already part of me. Every bite, every breath, you've been breathing my ship's air, eating its life. You belong to it now. Eli looked at his hands. Tiny silver veins were appearing beneath his skin, glowing faintly in the dim light. He rubbed them hard, but they didn't fade. He screamed. That night he sat in the dark, shaking. The whispers came again. Dozens of voices, male and female, all whispering at once. She lies. She weeps. She feeds. He covered his ears, but the voices spoke inside his head now. Then one voice stood out, calm and clear. Eli, if you want to escape, find the message in the core. It holds the truth. Eli looked up, breathing hard. Who are you? The first husband, the voice said. I tried to stop her. But now I am trapped inside. You still have a chance. Eli clenched his fists. The fear inside him turned to anger. Then I'll find it. I'll find your message and end this nightmare. The ship groaned again as if laughing. The walls rippled like waves. And far away, Thura's voice whispered lovingly, Sleep well, my dear husband. Tomorrow we begin your joining. Eli couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw faces in the walls, faces that blinked and whispered his name. The air of Varn's gift felt thicker now, heavy with breath that wasn't his. The glowing silver veins on his arms had spread to his shoulders. When he pressed his hand to the wall, it pulsed back like two hearts beating together. He sat up, sweating. You said there's a message in the core, he whispered into the dark. Show me how to find it. No answer. But then the lights flickered and a faint blue trail appeared on the floor, like the ship itself was guiding him. Eli hesitated. Was this a trap? Or was the voice of the first husband still trying to help him? Either way, he had no choice. Staying still meant death or worse. He followed the glowing path. The walls breathed softly as he walked, like something asleep but dreaming of him. He tried not to look at them. The trail led him down into the lower decks, places even Thura never visited. The air was colder here. The hum of the ship was deeper, like a giant heart far below the floor. At last he reached a round metal door. Symbols in alien script glowed faintly around its edges. As he touched them, his veins lit up the same color and the door slid open. Inside was darkness and silence. He stepped in slowly. The door closed behind him with a sigh. At the center of the chamber floated a glowing crystal sphere, surrounded by rings of moving light. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Eli felt his skin prickle. This was the true core of Varn's gift. When he stepped closer, his veins brightened in response. The sphere shimmered and spoke, not in Thura's voice, but in a quiet human tone. Hello? Is someone there? Eli froze. Who are you? The light shifted, forming the faint image of a man's face, thin, pale, and flickering like a dying flame. My name is Ryan Holt, the image said. I was Thura's first husband, and now I am the memory that keeps this ship alive. Eli's throat tightened. You're the one who warned me, Ryan nodded. I tried to warn the others too. But she's clever. She knows when they learn too much. What is she? Eli asked. What is this place? Ryan's face grew dimmer. Thura was once a scientist from the core worlds. She studied human minds, our emotions, our ability to love. But when she fell in love with a human soldier, her people punished her. They fused her with her ship so she could never leave it. Her body became flesh and metal, her heart the engine you see before you. Eli stepped closer, eyes wide. So, she's both alive and a machine? Yes, and she can't survive without human minds to stabilize her consciousness. That's why she marries men like us. She drains our thoughts, our memories, until we become part of the ship's system. Eli swallowed hard. So all the faces I saw? Ryan's eyes flickered sadly. We are the ones who loved her, or thought we did. Each of us is trapped in her network. She tells herself it's love, but it's hunger. Eli clenched his fists. Then how do I stop her? The lights around Ryan began to shake. Inside this core is a key, a shutdown code hidden in her mind. But you must enter her neural link. It's dangerous. If she feels you there, she'll destroy you. I'll take the risk, Eli said. Ryan looked at him sadly. You have courage, Eli Dane, but courage feeds her too. She admires it. Be careful, she can see through the ship's eyes. Before Eli could reply, the door hissed open behind him. He turned, and there she was, Lady Thura. Her massive figure filled the doorway, her robes flowing like liquid silver. Her golden eyes glowed brighter than before. My love, she said softly, her voice calm but trembling. Why do you speak to ghosts? Eli's heart pounded. You knew I'd come here. I feel every heartbeat on my ship, she whispered, stepping closer. Even yours. Ryan's image began to fade. Go, Eli, she's connected now. She can erase me. Before he could finish, the sphere flashed white. Ryan's face dissolved, replaced by Thura's. You should not have seen this, she said. He lied to you. They all did. I gave them eternity, and they call it prison. Eli stepped back. You're killing them, Thura. I'm saving them, she hissed. Her voice cracked with pain. Do you know what it's like to live alone in the dark for 1,000 years? To feel every piece of yourself break apart until the silence eats you alive? Eli stared at her, his anger trembling with pity. Then why me? She stepped closer, her golden eyes glowing with tears. Because you looked at me and didn't scream. For a moment he saw something human in her, something broken and sad. But the pity vanished when the floor began to move. Metal tendrils slid toward him. Stop, he shouted. Don't. The tendrils wrapped around his legs. Thura's voice echoed all around. You've touched my heart, Eli. Now it's time for you to become part of it. Eli struggled, pulling free one arm. He grabbed a loose wire from the core and slammed it into the floor. Sparks flew. The lights flickered. Thura screamed, not from pain but fury. Eli ran. The door opened just long enough for him to slip out before it sealed shut behind him. He fell to the floor of the corridor, gasping, shaking. Inside his mind, a faint voice whispered, Ryan's voice. You found the truth. Now you must enter her mind. It's the only way. Eli pressed his hand against the glowing wall. The silver veins under his skin pulsed in time with the ship, and somewhere deep inside him a part of Varn's gift pulsed back. Eli didn't know how long he ran. Every corridor looked the same. Silver walls breathing, lights pulsing like veins, whispers chasing him from the shadows. When he finally stopped, he fell against the wall, gasping for air. The ship seemed to sigh with him. His hands trembled. The glowing veins under his skin were brighter now, almost alive. The ship was inside him and he was inside it. She's turning me into part of her, he whispered. From somewhere far away, a soft voice answered, You can still stop it, if you go into her dream. It was Rian again, the first husband. His voice echoed faintly inside Eli's skull. Her dream? Eli asked aloud. Yes, the voice said. The link between her and the ship. That's where her mind hides. It's where she keeps the pain, the truth, and the key to her death. Eli's heartbeat quickened. How do I get there? You build the bridge, Ryan whispered. You already carry her code in your blood, use it. But beware. If she finds you there, she'll make you part of the dream forever. Eli closed his eyes. Then I'll end this before she ends me. He went to the engineering deck, a silent maze of cables and humming panels. The air smelled like ozone and warm oil. He scavenged parts, a neural connector, a power core, and a memory crystal. Piece by piece, he built a crude headset. This will link my mind to hers, he murmured. Ryan, will this kill me? Silence, he swallowed hard. Then I'll find out myself. He placed the headset on his head, pressed the switch and screamed. Light exploded behind his eyes. His body fell away. His mind plunged into something vast and liquid, like diving into a sea made of dreams. When he opened his eyes again, he stood in a field of silver grass under a black sky filled with golden stars. The air shimmered soft and alive. It was beautiful, too beautiful. He looked down and saw his reflection rippling in the grass. His face looked the same, but faint golden light glowed beneath his skin. This is her mind, he whispered. Her dream. Then he saw her. Lady Thura walked through the silver field barefoot, her massive form glowing softly. Here she didn't look monstrous. Her face was younger, gentler, her golden eyes full of sorrow instead of fire. Eli hid behind a shining tree of light. He watched as she knelt beside a small stone covered in alien letters. Her voice was low, trembling. I wanted to love you all, she whispered, but they all left me. They always leave. Eli's chest tightened. For a moment he saw her not as a monster, but as something broken and lonely. Then she turned suddenly, her eyes locking onto his hiding place. Eli, she said softly, you shouldn't be here. He stepped out slowly, his heart pounding. You killed them, Thura, all those men. Her expression didn't change. No, I kept them. They begged for death. He shouted. They're trapped in your ship. Tears shimmered in her golden eyes. You don't understand. I was cursed, Eli. My people turned me into this. Every second I live, I feel the ship feeding on me. Without human minds, I die. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Eli shook his head. You could have asked for help. Her voice trembled. And who would help a creature like me? She reached out her hand. Stay, Eli, please. I can make you happy here. No hunger, no pain, no death. Just us forever. Eli stepped back. That's not love. That's a cage. Her face hardened. Then I'll make you understand. The dream around them began to twist. The sky cracked. The silver grass turned red like bleeding metal. The ground split and faces rose from below. Rian and all the others screaming silently, "You see?" She cried. "They are part of me. They keep me alive!" Eli shouted over the storm. "You don't need them anymore. You can let go." Her voice turned into thunder. "If I let go, I die."
"Then die free!" he yelled.
"Don't drag the rest of us with you." She stared at him, trembling. The dream flickered, one side bright and soft, the other dark and cold. For a heartbeat, Eli thought he saw fear in her eyes. Then she whispered, "I can't." The world shattered. Eli fell through darkness, spinning, until he hit the floor of the real world again. The headset cracked and smoked beside him. He gasped, clutching his chest. His veins burned with golden light. Thura's voice filled the air, louder and angrier than ever. "You entered my heart. You saw what you should not have seen." Eli stood, his body shaking. "I saw your pain, Thura, but I won't let it kill me." She appeared before him, her form flickering like broken light. "Then I'll make you one with me now and forever." The ship roared. The floor opened beneath him, showing the glowing core below. Tendrils of light reached for him. Eli grabbed a plasma tool from the wall. "You want to be one, Thura?" he said, voice shaking. "Then let's burn together." He jumped toward the core. Her scream shook the ship. When the light faded, Eli found himself lying near the control deck, alive but weak. The whispers in the walls had stopped. The air was quiet, then a faint sound broke the silence, a single breath. Eli, Thura's voice, soft, almost human. "Thank you." And for the first time, her voice didn't sound like a threat. It sounded free. For a long moment, there was silence. No voices in the walls, no heartbeat in the floor, no golden glow in the air. Varn's gift floated quietly through deep space as if holding its breath. Eli opened his eyes. He was lying near the control deck, his body weak but alive. The headset he had built was gone, melted to ash. His arms still glowed faintly beneath the skin, but the light was fading. He stood, trembling. "Thura," he called out softly. No answer. The ship no longer whispered her name or watched him from the walls. It was as if the great creature had finally fallen asleep. Eli took a deep breath. "I did it," he whispered. "She's gone." But even as he said it, a cold wind seemed to move through the ship, an impossible breeze in a sealed vessel. Somewhere far below, a door opened with a hiss. Eli moved carefully through the corridors, searching for an escape pod. He had studied the ship for weeks while pretending to obey Thura. He knew there were small launch bays near the stern. If he could reach one, he might finally see real stars again, not through glass, but with freedom. The corridors were dim, the lights flickering. Without Thura's control, Varn's gift felt weak, almost dying. The soft hum that once filled every corner was gone. In its place was a heavy, uneasy silence. He reached the lower deck. A cracked panel showed the void of space outside, black and endless, scattered with cold stars. He smiled for the first time in weeks. "I'm leaving this nightmare," he whispered. At the end of the hall, a small pod door blinked green. He pressed his palm to the panel and it opened with a soft sigh. Inside was a single seat, control levers, and a navigation beacon. He stepped in, heart racing. "This is it," he said. "Freedom." He sat down and started the ignition sequence. The pod shook slightly, its engine humming to life. On the small screen before him, he entered the coordinates for the nearest human station. Launch in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. A voice whispered in his ear. "Going somewhere, my love." Eli froze. He turned slowly. The pod's glass reflected his face, and behind him, faint and glowing, the golden eyes of Lady Thura. He jumped up, heart slamming in his chest. "You're dead."
"I destroyed the link."
Thura's voice was calm, almost gentle. "You freed me from the ship's core, yes. But you didn't destroy me, Eli. You brought me into you." He stared at his hands. The faint golden veins had begun to pulse again, brighter, stronger. He felt a warmth spreading through his chest. "No," he whispered. "No." Thura's soft laughter echoed around the pod, coming from the walls, from his mind. "You and I are connected now. When you entered my dream, I entered yours. You made me human, Eli. You gave me a body again." The reflection in the glass began to shift. His own eyes shimmered gold for a moment, then faded back to brown. "I don't want this," he shouted. "Get out of my head!" Her voice grew quieter, sadder. "You can't kill me without killing yourself. We are one heart now. Eli hit the emergency lever, forcing the pod to launch. It shot away from Varn's gift, spinning through the dark. The massive ship grew smaller behind him, its lights flickering like dying stars. But as the pod flew farther, he began to feel strange. His chest ached. Every heartbeat sounded like a metal drum. His vision blurred, showing flashes of gold and silver. "Stop fighting me, Eli," Thura whispered. "We can live together. You can have your freedom and I can see the stars again. Together?" he said, his voice shaking. "That's not freedom. Then what is?" she asked softly. "Alone, dying in a metal shell? Or sharing life with someone who needs you?" He gritted his teeth. "You don't need me. You need control." Silence. Then a faint sigh. "Maybe you're right." For a moment he felt her pull back. The warmth inside his chest dimmed, but then the ship's alarm screamed. The pod shook violently. The navigation system flashed red. "Warning. Core connection detected. Recall initiated." Eli's eyes widened. "She's pulling me back." Outside, a golden thread of energy stretched from Varn's gift, hooking onto the pod. The stars around him blurred as the ship reeled him in like a fish. "Thura, stop," he shouted. "You'll destroy us both." Her voice came from inside his mind now, calm and close. "I don't want to destroy you, Eli. I want you here where you belong." The pod hit the docking bay with a crash. Sparks flew. Eli staggered out, coughing. The walls pulsed with gold light again, the heartbeat of Varn's gift alive once more. Thura appeared before him, her form flickering like light through water. She looked smaller, softer, almost human. "Please," she said, tears glowing in her golden eyes. "Don't leave me." "Not again." Eli's anger melted for a moment. She looked lost, broken, like a child begging not to be abandoned. But then he saw the walls, faces of men still trapped in the metal, their eyes empty and glowing. He stepped back. "You'll never change, Thura." Her expression hardened. "Then you'll stay here until you do." The door behind him sealed shut. The walls glowed brighter. Eli grabbed the plasma tool again, his last weapon. "If you want me," he said, his voice low, "you'll have to take what's left." He turned toward the engine core, sparks flying around him. The ship screamed. Outside, in the endless dark, Varn's gift began to burn like a small sun. Flames danced across the control deck. Alarms screamed through Varn's gift as if the ship itself were crying out in pain. The air shimmered with smoke and sparks. Eli stumbled forward, gripping the plasma tool tight in his hand. His lungs burned. His heart pounded like a hammer inside his chest, only now it didn't sound human. Each beat echoed like metal striking metal. The walls pulsed with golden light. Thura's voice filled the air, broken and trembling. "Eli, please stop, you'll destroy us both." Eli coughed, wiping blood from his mouth. "That's the point." He staggered toward the glowing engine core. It pulsed like a living heart, his and hers fused together. The cables around it shimmered, reaching for him like veins. "You said you wanted love," he whispered. "This is it. The last kind you'll ever get." He raised the plasma tool. A blinding flash erupted. The ship screamed, a deep living sound that shook the air. The blast threw Eli across the deck. He hit the wall hard, his vision spinning. When he looked up, the golden light of the ship began to fade. The heartbeat slowed. Then, silence. For the first time since his marriage, the ship stopped breathing. Eli crawled across the floor, gasping. His veins still glowed faintly, but the golden light inside them was fading. He smiled weakly. "It's over," he whispered. He closed his eyes. For a moment he expected to die, but instead there was warmth, a soft light around him. "Eli," a gentle voice whispered. "You freed me." His eyes opened. Lady Thura stood before him, not as the huge alien queen, but as a faint, transparent figure. Her face looked peaceful now, her golden eyes calm. "I can't hold the ship anymore," she said softly. "You broke the curse. I'm finally free." He tried to stand, but couldn't. "Then go. Leave this place." "Let me rest," she shook her head. "I can't leave without you. You are part of me now." Eli's breathing grew shallow. "Then what happens to us?" Thura smiled, a sad, quiet smile. "We become something new." The ship began to glow again, but softly this time. No fire, no screams, only light. The walls shimmered like morning fog. The cables lifted gently, wrapping around them both. "Close your eyes," she whispered. "And listen." Eli obeyed. He heard a faint hum, a rhythm like two hearts beating in harmony. The pain faded. The world dissolved into light. When he opened his eyes again, he wasn't on the ship. He was standing on solid ground. Before him stretched an endless field of silver grass under a calm blue sky. The air was warm, peaceful. It smelled like rain. He looked down at himself. His skin was normal again. The golden veins were gone. Where am I? He murmured. You're home, a voice said behind him. He turned. Thura stood there smiling. She looked human. Her golden eyes were softer. Her body smaller, no longer heavy or monstrous. She wore simple white clothes that moved like clouds. This is our new world, she said. The ship's energy created it. A memory turned real. Eli blinked, stunned. Is this real? She stepped closer, touching his face gently. As real as you want it to be. You ended the curse, Eli. You gave both of us peace. He wanted to feel happy, but something in his chest felt strange. Too calm, too quiet. Are we dead? Thura hesitated. Not dead, changed. She looked up at the glowing sky. You see that light? It's Varn's gift. The ship became a sun. It carries our memories now, and our story will travel forever through space. Eli followed her gaze. High above, a small golden sun floated in the sky, pulsing gently, alive but not cruel. He exhaled slowly. So we saved them, the men she trapped? Thura nodded. They are free now, part of the light. He looked around. The silver grass rippled in the breeze, and distant voices laughed faintly. Free souls at peace. Thura smiled softly. You wanted a ship to escape poverty. Now you have a whole world, Eli laughed weakly. Yeah, a strange deal for a poor mechanic. They stood together in silence, watching the sky. For the first time there was no fear, no pain, no hunger. Only quiet. Years or maybe seconds passed. Time didn't matter in this place. One day, far away from that field, a salvage crew discovered a derelict ship drifting near a dead star. Its hull was covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly gold. Inside they found no bodies, no data, no life signs. Only a message carved into the control panel. To anyone who finds this, love can trap you or free you. We chose both. The crew left the ship confused but moved. As they departed, the ship's hull shimmered for a moment, and a faint human face appeared in the metal, smiling. Back in the silver world, Eli sat beside Thura under a glowing tree. Do you ever miss the stars? He asked. Thura looked at him with that same gentle smile. We are the stars now. He looked at her, realizing he no longer felt fear or regret. Only peace. And as they watched the sky together, the golden sun pulsed brighter, sending one last ripple of light across the universe, carrying their story to whoever still believed that love, even among monsters, could still be human after all.